Welcome, we're joined today by the newly appointed UK Ambassador to Armenia, Jon Gallagher. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So, Ambassador, you have recently presented your credentials here in Armenia, but you've only been here for a short time, so how are you finding it? How are you settling in?
Very well, thank you. I've had a really positive experience in my first month here. It's coming up to a month, and I feel like I've seen all four seasons in that month. When I first arrived, it was snowy blizzard, and now it's sort of full of summer sunshine. But I've had a really positive experience. Received a very warm welcome. I think there's lots of really interesting work that the UK can do with Armenia at this time. It's a busy period. There's a lot happening. But I feel very excited about the opportunities that are here, and I feel that there is a lot that the UK can do with Armenia as it continues on its journey of introducing reforms, embedding those reforms, developing its democratic institutions, and also tackling broader issues that the UK wants to work on more broadly. So I'm really excited to be here, very happy to be here and to get stuck into what I think should be a really positive agenda.
And the UK for some time did not have a permanent ambassador in Armenia, and there was an announcement of a new ambassador that was later rescinded, but now that everything is settled and it seems the team has really come together, can we expect greater engagement from the UK with regards to Armenia?
Well, I would say that even though the previous ambassador with that title was here, and there's about 18 months ago before I arrived, during that time we've had two very senior colleagues that have led the embassy and have done a great deal of really good work in the past couple of years. We've done a lot of work in terms of working with Armenia's parliament to help share our experience of having a parliamentary, a centuries old parliament, and share the good practice there. We've worked with community institutions, we've worked with the business community as well, and we've also helped bring medical expertise from the UK to support Armenia as it's handled the COVID-19 response. And at the same time, we've also donated £1 million to the International Red Cross to support the humanitarian work in Nagorno-Karabakh. So during that period of time, there's been a really, I would say there's been a lot of activity in terms of UK support to Armenia. And I look forward to taking that to the next level during my time here.
And as the new UK ambassador to Armenia, what do you want to focus on? What areas are you particularly interested in focusing on?
Well, as I said, I feel that the UK has a lot of experience to share with Armenia in terms of strengthening its institutional base, and I know that the government is very committed to reform, and we would want to support that. I think the government has made quite a few achievements in its time in office so far, and we would want to support that as well. We're also very keen to support Armenia's democratic development, so again to create the foundations for a stronger, more resilient country. I also want to help UK companies come to Armenia and explore the opportunities here and help the Armenian economy grow and create opportunities for the people here. And I also want, I know the UK is keen to support Armenia become an example to the rest of the region in terms of embedding those good governance practices that we think are really key to being a successful country. At the same time, we also want to engage with Armenia because we think Armenia has an important role to play in these global challenges that I've been talking about. Climate change is a key one for the UK this year. We're hosting the COP26 conference in Glasgow in November, and we want to work with Armenia so that Armenia produces a really ambitious national goal that can play a part in the global response to climate change.
And why is Armenia important for the UK? And I'm also interested, Westminster has been talking a lot about global Britain since Brexit. Does Armenia fit into the idea of a global Britain?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the key changes that we've seen in the past couple of years, that the past few years, that the UK foreign policy is now focused very much on looking for opportunities beyond our immediate neighbourhood, and Armenia clearly is an area where we feel there is much that we can do. There's a lot of potential, there's a lot of scope for deepening the substance of that relationship, and so Global Britain is really all about expanding our vision for how the UK interacts with the rest of the world. The other thing that we have recently published is a refreshed sort of foreign policy strategy, which we call the Integrated Review, and this sets out the principles by which we want to engage with the world. You know, the foreign policy principles. What we want to do is support open societies, free trade, liberal economies, defend human rights, all of those core fundamental principles that we think are important that countries across the world adopt. And Armenia is already like-minded in many of these respects, and we want to build on that engagement to basically deepen the relationship and to help better establish the UK and visible signs of the UK presence in this part of the world, Armenia particularly. And I would say a couple of the areas where that's most evident or is most tangible is on things like English language training and cultural engagement, people-to-people links, to enable more exposure of people in Armenia to what the UK has to offer and vice versa, and that will add up to a more meaningful relationship.
And the UK has also shown its readiness to help develop Armenia's civil society, and a lot of the embassies of various Western countries have been involved in that. So I know you haven't been here very long, but are there any plans yet to help develop civil society that the UK embassy could be involved in?
Well, it's an interesting one. I think it's not really for the UK or any country to develop civil society in Armenia. It is for civil society itself to decide what are the key areas where they want to focus. What the UK wants to do is support civil society have a role to play, because in our view, a successful country has a vibrant civil society that has a voice in shaping what that country's future is, and holding government to account. And we are very proud of the work that we've done in Armenia. One of the examples of that is a project we supported on encouraging more female participation in politics, because we think that through that kind of wider access, there will be greater diversity of thought, diversity of ideas, and a fundamentally stronger basis for governing. So that's working at a community level with civil society. So I think that's a really good example of how we want to work with civil society organisations to provide the thinking and the innovation that's needed to help Armenia become successful. And I would say the other area as well is our commitment at a global level to supporting freedom of expression, freedom of the media, which again is really important to offering a way of holding government to account and making sure that they are delivering for their people.
And Armenia is, of course, right now really living in the context of the aftermath of the Second Karabakh War. How do you perceive the situation, and how can the UK help possibly with peace building and state building with regards to Armenia in this post-war period?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very conscious that the past 7 or 8 months have been a very difficult time for Armenia with the war and the and the personal cost of that has been very great. So that's clearly been a big factor in what's happened this year, as well as the effects of the coronavirus pandemic as well. What the UK wants to support is a peaceful settlement to the war. We are very keen that both sides come to an agreement under the auspices of the OSCE's Minsk Group co-chair process, which we feel is the most credible way of ensuring a sustainable peace. I mean, clearly the facts on the ground have changed after the war. There is a new presence there, but what we feel hasn't changed and is important to sustain is that Armenia itself continues on the path to deepening its governance, its good governance practices, has strong institutions, has an economy that is able to be resilient in the face of the consequences of what happens, and that we are committed to working with Armenia to help that happen.
And the UK ambassador to Azerbaijan, James Sharp, visited the Azerbaijani-controlled parts of Karabakh, went to Jebrail when corpses were still being collected. This outraged many Armenians, and what I'm getting at is that many in Armenia feel that the UK is ultimately pro-Azerbaijan and is neither neutral or allied towards Armenia. Many feel that not much is being done about the POWs issue, and also there is many who believe that the UK was responsible for blocking certain motions or resolutions in the United Nations. How do you plan to work and confront this perception in a country that is not hostile to the UK, but where this perception does exist?
Well, I think first and foremost, I just want to be clear that the UK values the relationship we have with Armenia and Azerbaijan equally. So any sense in which the UK favours Azerbaijan over Armenia is just not the case. We've been very vocal with both sides throughout the conflict and afterwards, to bring the conflict to a peaceful conclusion, and which we welcomed at the 9th of November ceasefire. That was a positive development. But we've also been active since then, both to encourage both sides to come to a sustainable agreement under the Minsk Group, but also to resolve issues such as the return of prisoners of war, access to Nagorno-Karabakh, and that has happened frequently and at high levels throughout the conflict and since then. So I think we have been very clear that we have not taken sides at all, and kind of allied to that, I've heard these accusations about the UK blocking things at the United Nations even before this interview, and again I can say categorically that is not the case. The UK did not block any statements at the UN Security Council. We have been very keen to see a peaceful outcome and have worked both at the UN and elsewhere to try and create the conditions for that to happen. And there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation and false narratives that exist around the UK, and I think that it's important that those are countered when they basically have no basis in fact. And I would say one of the things that I want to do during my time here as ambassador is to take a very open and transparent approach with the people I meet here in Armenia at all levels, whether it's government or civil society or at a personal level, and be very, very open about what the UK stands for, what the UK feels we have to offer Armenia, and why the UK takes certain positions. That's I think that is as one of the key characteristics actually of the UK is our commitment to that openness and transparency and willingness to explain.
Well, Ambassador, welcome to Armenia and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much for having me.
And thank you for joining us on CivilNet.